Oh, we are live.
Yes, we are.
Here we go.
What is going on?
All right. Sorry for the late start, everybody.
We
Uh, we all know why. If you were following uh, young Satan out in the cemetery, did you do that? Did you put that up there? I like it. I like it a lot. You know I'm a
yeah.
fan. You know I'm a fan of the
Well,
Dark
listen,
Lord.
that's my rapper name.
Is it?
I
Mine's
listen.
Tone.
I did a brief. I got into hip hop a brief stint. I wasn't successful as a rapper, but I gained mucho success as an ASMR artist.
Interesting. My rap name is Tone Deaf.
Tone Deaf. Yo, we should collab, yo. Young
It's
Satan and Tone Deaf.
an old dad joke. So I nail the dad jokes, guys. Nail
Yeah, dad jokes.
them. All right, we got a lot of people joining us. Welcome, welcome. I like
Awesome.
it. Thank you for being here. Splintered Spirits live. Dude, we got a lot to go over. A lot of
Yeah.
stuff. So
Yeah, we do.
before, so we'll get into it first. So I was talking to, I got some good stuff lined up. And I was
Nice.
talking to our friend and collaborator and one of our first guests, Lloyd Auerbach. If everybody remembers episode 4,
Cool.
uh, Lloyd he is on so many boards and he's been doing this for so long in the paranormal space. And Kathy's been helping me out. Kathy Nadal, our guest, our psychic medium guest as well. They're just so plugged in, and we have some really fun perspectives lined up for people. And hopefully, this is all going to work out. I want to talk to, the Forever Family Foundation. I want to find out what their testing is for psychics.
Can you? I'm sorry to cut you off. I
Yeah,
was talking about them earlier in one of my lives. I didn't
yeah,
have all the details. Can you explain exactly what they are and their
yeah. I could
purpose?
for sure for the fair. Look. By the way, I can only tell you from what I know what they are.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and they are a nonprofit organization that actually helps with people who are grieving from loss primarily. So it's like, when a family loses someone and they want to, use a medium to help them get through those times, the Forever Family Foundation helps them with the grieving process. So they go through, someone like Kathy goes through a very rigorous testing because they don't want to send, I guess, they don't feel like they want to send a fraud out to somebody to take advantage of them in those times, and it's not for profit. So they go in, and that's what they do, and they just help people get through these rough times. you
And
know
this is it's nonprofit, so
Correct.
they do not
I guess,
make a dime
it probably
off.
works off donations or something, but they're not asking people that they're helping for. I
Right.
don't think
Yeah.
like the work Kathy does when she does it with the Forever Family Foundation, she doesn't get paid. She gets paid as a psychic medium for other things, but
Yeah.
not
Of course.
if she goes and sits with a family or something like that.
Yeah.
As far as I
Phenomenal.
understand it. As
Isn't
far
that
as I
isn't that
understand
phenomenal?
it. It's
Like I
crazy,
think
right?
that's yeah. I
Yeah.
think that's amazing.
Well, it
Okay.
adds a little bit
Yeah.
like to me, it makes it feel less. All right, well, that's a little less slimy, you know what I mean? And it's just
Yeah.
sort of like from a psychic, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, maybe what's going on. So I want to meet with the guy who founded that. I want
Yeah,
to hear
that'd
what
be
that
awesome.
process is like. Um, I've got an author. We're talking. We do a lot of tech. We talk a lot of tech on this show and on this podcast. And you use a lot of tech. It's a big part of the future of paranormal. And I'm talking to someone who wrote a book on paranormal and phones. So
Yeah,
hopefully we'll get him on soon, which is really
that'd be
a
awesome.
big focus. Also talking, I'm reaching out to. I want to reach out to the Rhine Institute. They do a lot of psychic testing, paranormal testing of people, and just sort of what that all means. And I just like hearing these people who study it. What do they think spirits are versus what you think spirits are, and is there any sort of connection into all this stuff? You know what I mean? Which could be
Hmm.
wild. I mean, it
Yeah.
just could be totally wild.
Yeah.
Um, so that's good. What's going on in your world?
The usual. We just got back from a cemetery. I'm pretty sure everybody watching knows that. We just got back from a cemetery. Normal. We sat down a bit. We went for a walk. Came across a very interesting spirit named Abby. I don't think it's my first time speaking with her though, or at least somebody around that plot. And very, very kind, respectful spirit. Even said, "Nice to meet you." Just Yeah.
Wow.
Very, very. I like it when the nice ones come through, and she was, responsive and nice. Yeah, just the normal. That's what today was so far. And then unfortunately, the cold weather it started drizzling, hence the late start because we were supposed to
Yeah.
do this from there
Yeah.
today.
Yeah. Oh, that would have been wild. Yeah. Well, it sucks. The weather's terrible, and hopefully the spring will pick up some fun spots and fun locations for all this
Hoping.
stuff. Look, dude, we got a lot. We had a big week. We dropped episode 8, which was a super fun episode, and that's with Kathy and you in the fireplace room.
Which is
Anybody
great.
who's not familiar with the podcast as of yet, we got episodes 1 through 8 out now, and there's a great thing in episode 8, and we're going to talk about it. And if you're watching me on TikTok, go to YT. You'll get the full experience for this, because we're about to drop some clips and show you. But so sorry, I'm stuttering around. I'm going to show some video here to get people and understand what we're talking about, but to remind
Cool.
everyone. And it took
Let's do
one of our fans to point this out. So we ran a test in episodes 2 and 3 dealing with our favorite spirit, or my favorite spirit we love to hate, Mr. Edward, who is the nastiest ghost in the fireplace room. And we were speaking to in episode 2, we speak to a younger, there he is. We speak to a younger version of Edward. And we ran a little game on him, telling him who I was. And then we lied about it to the older Edward in the fireplace room in episode 3 to see if spirits are connected. Because Johnny, why are we wondering whether or not spirits are connected? To remind everybody what the theory is.
So the theory is that spirits are memories, and two memories can be in two separate locations. Same spirit, two different memories. So we wanted to see, since Edward is a very strong spirit, if Edward is in two different spots, because I got lucky enough to find what is claiming to be a child version of him, or at least is coming through that way. That is a child version of Edward, memories being by his plot, which is wild to begin with.
Crazy.
So we decided to run a test.
So let me show you, because in episode 8, John and I effed up. We didn't hear it. We got it backwards, and it took a fan to point it out to us. So I'm going to show you. Let me jump to this clip, and you guys watch what happens. So this is from episode 8, and then I'm going to cut back to episodes 2 and 3, and then we're going to we're going to talk about this for a second.
Oh, wow. He knows you're the uncle.
Johnny,
Oh, my God.
Johnny, who did we tell him I was?
That's right, to test our theory. I said you were my. So we told the little version of him that he was my brother.
Wrong. We got that completely wrong.
So, yeah. According to my
Here we
theory,
go.
technically, these two spirits shouldn't be connected. I've got one. Edward. This man that I'm speaking to, that you can hear, this is my Uncle Gary.
That's the
Okay?
young
I
version.
hate my dad.
You hate your dad? Okay. Well, this is my uncle. This isn't my father. This is my uncle. All right? I just want it. This is my Uncle Gary. So you know for the next time.
Stroke.
Okay?
Stroke, he said, remember? Now, in episode 3.
Edward, what do you think of my brother?
What do I do? Do you know?
Unfortunately, I do know what you do. That's the problem. That's why I'm here. But tell me about. Oh, I think he might have been talking to you.
No, dude, I don't want to talk. I mean,
I think he was directly talking to you, to be honest. But tell me what you think about my brother.
All right. So, all right, where does that leave us? Because now he called me. Eventually, he called me uncle, and we never told him that.
No.
So, now look, does this prove that all spirits are connected? No, it's one piece of data. But it was one test that we gave that sort of crazily worked. You walk me. What do you? You're the one who documents, bro. What do you make of all this?
Okay, so as you said, it's one piece of data. So what we're going to do is we're going to dive into that one piece of data. First and foremost, this test might have been set up for failure to begin with, for the simple fact that I have no idea what is in my actual apartment listening. Who knows what information Edward is being fed from other spirits within the building itself? Who knows if Edward himself isn't up there listening?
Are you saying he's cheating?
Yeah,
That son of a bitch cheating?
that's not. Well, think about it. It's Edward. He's cunning, dude.
Ruining
He's
our
cunning.
science. It's crazy.
He's cunning. So that's the first thing. That's a possibility.
Right.
The second also is he did say uncle. Okay, he did say uncle,
Yeah.
but how do we know that that one word was directed towards us?
Well, I mean,
I
if
know.
it looks
but
like a
think about
duck
it.
and sounds
It's
like
not
a duck.
like it's not like a spirit who's well known for saying full sentences said, "Hey, that's your uncle. You're his uncle."
But of all the words in the universe, it's
I
a
know.
little bit weird that it would
That
say
it said
uncle.
uncle. Yes, yes, yes.
You know what I mean? It's like we're
But there's
sitting there.
Yes, no, that is true. But it's also, it also has to be
It's sort of
noted.
the
It
whole
was
play
only,
on this shit. There's the whole thing is, you know.
yeah. So there's also that.
It's a little.
So we have to test. We have to find another spirit to test that theory on.
Yeah, we do. What are you
So,
thinking?
This is what I'm thinking. There is another spirit where we could test this theory. He's come through once here, maybe twice. His name is Ernest.
Here being where you are right now.
Being where I'm at right now, his name is Ernest. I've heard him spoke of, and I'm pretty sure I actually spoke to him. Okay, at least once or twice here in the tower.
Okay.
And Ernest Simons is the owner of this place. He's the one that created the factory and ran the business. I also have spoken to him where he's buried. So he would be the next spirit. The only problem with Ernest is that he's not that strong.
Some of the people in the chat are throwing out names, John. Anne or Mamie.
So, only problem with Mamie is I don't know where she lived when she was alive.
You're right.
And as far as Ann Purdy goes, I don't know if I would be allowed access to where she was living when she was alive.
Got it.
So,
And
Jesse,
Jesse,
and Jesse has a great point.
but I don't.
Jesse has a great point.
I went through it. I didn't hear it, and it's if
No,
somebody
but
else.
it doesn't mean that I was
never
talking
said
to
it?
you.
But well, that's what you're talking about. Like when you're saying, that was like when you were talking about when you're saying, in your apartment or something, where the spirits are in the apartment hearing you, because Jess, in the order of things, I never went to the fireplace room until that first episode. That was my first time in there, for this recording. So, episode 2 happened first, and then we went back and filmed down there. And then it wasn't for like a couple of weeks later, we went back with Kathy, and then this happened. So could it have been said ever? Maybe, but it's still the timeline in the time between episode 2 and episode 8. I have not been in that room, so I don't know when that would have happened. And that was before I was back in the apartment for Christmas.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say, yes, it's hard to say. The odds are low that we slipped, because I haven't heard it. I was after that, we got that pointed out, I went back and listened, which is like unfun. So even though I enjoy it, it's just like unfun, listen to all the raw footage and everything else. But I don't know, man. It's crazy.
It's not like I always call you Uncle Gary either.
That's
Most of the
true.
time I call you Gary.
Yes.
You know, I will call you Uncle Gary. It's just not, not on the regular. It's not like
Yeah.
every time I
Huh.
address you, I'm like Uncle Gary, Uncle Gary.
It's crazy.
You
It's
know?
crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, so all right, so we've got Ernest. He's here. Where do you think he was? Where do you think the other version was again?
At the cemetery I was at today.
That's okay.
And so I'll tell you how that went. The first time I spoke to him, it was kind of hard because he was kind of weak. It was like, I wasn't really getting much. But when I came here, he didn't know who I was. So, but then
Hmm.
again, like I said, I got very little data on that. It would have to be, we would need to go there, sit down,
Right.
try to talk to him. And then I don't even think we should run a test. I say we try to talk to him and then I come back here and see if he remembers me.
Yeah. I mean, it's just that's a start.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yep.
Here, someone in the chat asked this question. Can spirits read minds? What do we think
So
about
I,
that?
I do touch on this. I do touch on this slightly in my live stream on TikTok. Okay. There has been, and this cannot be denied, there has been many times where I would be speaking and the spirit will finish what I am going to say. It actually happens quite a bit. And what I've realized is that things that are on the tip of my tongue, the spirits will say before I get to say it. So I don't know with that information if spirits do kind of have access to our brains in a way that, normally isn't spoke of. So I don't think they can read your mind. I really don't. What I think happens is they can almost peer into what's in your mind because of what you're about to say to the forefront. So basically, whatever area of the brain calculates the words that are about to come out of your mouth and you're about to say them, they may have access to.
It's a good answer.
Yeah.
It's a good answer. The other funny thing about watching those clips too, I just realized is like when we recorded that stuff, we were never planning on using any video. So I'm looking at
Yeah.
myself in like a t-shirt and hoodie and my glass. Like I don't even think I just rolled out of bed, look like
Yeah,
total
yeah, yeah.
shit. And it's like
Keeps it real, man. It
it
keeps
keeps
it
it
real.
real. It's just like I don't want
Raw,
to.
baby.
Dude, it's like I'm 50 years old, bro. I don't want to keep it real. It's like I want to look
Yeah.
20 years younger. Tired of keeping it real. How do I fake
Oh,
it for a
man.
while? Fake it till I make it.
That's it. Fake it till you make
You
it.
know, I'm telling you. Again, everybody who's watching, thank you if you're just joining us late. This is Splintered Spirits Live.
Yep.
If you're on TikTok, I suggest going to the YT Splintered Spirits. You'll see a more full experience. You'll see John from at Santa Paranormal, where we talk all things spirits. But if you're here, like, subscribe, join. We got fun stickers too, y'all.
That's it.
And
Can we remind everybody about the merch?
we of course we can remind everybody about the merch.
Big
Let's
announcement. Big
drop
announcement. You will not only be able to get Splintered Spirits merch through Splintered Spirits, but you can now actually get Santa Paranormal merch via Splintered Spirits. You just dropped it right there. The QR code for the merch is gonna pop up. Go ahead and check it out, yo. And if you don't get a chance, do it later. SplinteredSpirits.com. Click on that merch. Check out that store.
That's right, yo. That's right.
That's it.
Yeah, we got a bunch of new stuff all on the web. There, I fixed it. I got to shorten that font. We'll figure that out later. But look, that's the QR code. It's at splinteredspirits.com. T-shirt, hats, and if you got any suggestions, things you want to see our name on, by all means, please. We'll slap it on there.
Yeah, we'll slap it right on there.
We'll slap it right on. I'll put that name on anything. If I could sell it, we'll put our name on it.
That's it.
We're not precious.
Nope.
Who cares, man?
Check this out. It's suction cups.
Oh. Here's another, so I got another. We have another good thing from a fan, and this seems like a regular. She asked a really interesting question. Because, John, I know you're doing a lot of fixed rig stuff again. You've got cameras rolling all night. at the factory.
Yep.
And I'm going to jump to this question, and I think it's a good one
Cool.
for you to answer. So look, Carrie Sue writes, I understand what she's talking, she being Kathy, is saying during episode 8. But why do we still hear the same spirit saying the same things when John leaves the live running for us, and he's leaves and is not there anymore? Like Edward will still call him names and tell us not to give him gifts, to gift him. At the same time in the tower, they all continue to move stuff or talk, to go up and down the stairs, etc. Doesn't that go against what the medium said? Now,
So
anyway, it's a good question.
it's a good question, but there might be some fallacy in there. Okay. And this
Address
happens
it.
a lot too, unfortunately. I ask my regulars all the time that are always watching the YT stream. So we're gonna talk about the YT stream, the absentee documentation that happens in the fireplace room.
Okay.
I ask people, and I've been doing it for years. Hey guys, does Edward say the same things, or the spirits in general say the same things when I'm there and when I am not there? And I've been told that the dialogue changes. Where instead of him yelling at everybody not to drop gifts, instead he'll say things like, don't support John. He'll still call me an a-hole, and things like that. But I hear that the dialogue changes, where it's, he's aware that I am not there anymore, and he now has a one-on-one audience with the people that are watching. Sure, there are a lot of things that he says that don't change, and whatever. That's just the way it is.
But right, but
From
I
my
guess
understanding,
I don't understand what I guess I missed something. What did Cat? Oh, maybe because we were saying how you're the catalyst for the spirit. So if you're not there,
yeah,
I'm just trying to figure out why she thinks. Because why would they say something different if you're not there?
Yeah. Well,
I don't.
technically, they should be. I'm
Right.
another factor getting involved. It's not like the activity stops when I leave. You know
What
what
I
I'm
look
saying?
at.
Like, hold on,
Yeah.
let's ask the audience real quick.
Sure. What do you want to ask?
Do you guys notice how many of you? There's 30 of you in here right now, right? Yeah,
I got
I'm
60,
sure the majority
62.
of you have seen the fireplace room with me in it and with me not in there. You know, how many have noticed the difference in the dialogue? Is it different?
What are you saying?
Someone just asked the funny, so stupid. It is possible, Powers, but I'm a married man, so I say no. I'm a loyal married man. We.
Is the dialogue different in the fireplace room for their steady fans who watch John at Santa Paranormal all the time, or they're watching his live streams when he's not there, the fixed rig camera stuff? Are they hearing spirits?
Okay, listen. All right, so here's some of these responses. What's it called? He turns it more directly to the chat rather than directly to me. What's it called? And he talks about me while I'm gone, as if like I'm not there. Yeah, this is what this is what I've been told. Like some things are the same, but I've been told that the dialogue changes. So that's what I mean by that. And it's a great question. Don't get me wrong, but I just noticed a little, a couple things that just didn't add up within the question, and that's what I've always been told, that the dialogue is different.
Yeah, this is
It
funny.
changes.
Now this answer where someone has heard, he says, "Hey assholes" to us the other day after you left. That to me
That's
is
insane.
where, but that's to me, like, this is the thing to me, is the personality is the same.
Yeah.
That's where, to me, it's not what he's saying, because look, let's talk. Even if the app has only so many words in the word bank or whatever it's pulling from, the personality is the same. The words it's choosing are the same. I'm not quite sure how that works, or if there's a technical way to make that work? I don't know the answer to that, but if for some reason with you, it's always working that way.
Yeah.
And that's strange to me. That's strange to me.
Yeah, the
Right?
personalities don't change. Yeah, especially with Edward.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Oh.
Um,
It's so here, same topics, just phrased differently. Like it's crazy. It's so that's what I've always been told. I've always been told that, when you're not there, John, this is what he's saying. It's basically the same stuff, just phrased differently. It's almost like he's now talking to us with you not there, rather than when you are there.
Right.
In fact, something really interesting. When I first started doing the YTs,
Mm-hmm.
the absentee documentation on the YTs, and I
Yep.
pulled it off of TikTok, because that's what I did originally. It used to be on TikTok, and then we switched over to the YTs for the absentee documentation. It took Edward like a week to figure out it was a different application. He was still telling people not to gift and all that stuff. And then he must have realized, oh, wait a second, this isn't TikTok.
Isn't it funny that he's learning the apps?
Yeah, dude, it's crazy.
It's a little weird.
I'll tell you, that's the one thing about Edward I will say. He is smart. He is not stupid. He is cunning. He is smart.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
All right. So what do we have coming up? So, guys, we've got a couple things coming up in the next 2 episodes. I told you about, we're planning some big expert things. The next 2 episodes, episode 9 is we got some ghost stories, more just ghost stories, you and I bullshitting. But episode 10, after that, John and I go on the offensive. I don't think you've ever heard John this way. Certainly haven't heard me this way, but we're in the fireplace room again. And it's very, it's very hard hitting. It's like we really push. Whereas you normally sit back, we push.
Yeah.
We push for answers. And it's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's very aggressive.
It's very aggressive. It's funny.
Yeah.
It's funny. And for me, I only have one more question too I want to pose to the audience, because when John was talking about this, we like this time slot, but it's like, I am curious for people who are watching, let me know what day and what time would be easier to watch this live. Is this the best time for everyone? Are you sitting around? You have to get back to work, unfortunately. When do you wish it was on? Does it interrupt some of your favorite shows? What do you guys think? Is this a good time? Thursdays at 4?
Yo, shout out to the 60 people that are watching right now.
I love it. It was high for a minute there. It's higher up for as well.
It's still showing 60 for me.
Yeah.
And I refreshed.
Yeah, it's good. I think this is the highest. So we're growing, that's for sure.
Yeah, so the reason why we're asking that question is we're actually thinking of switching this tonight.
Yeah, it's
to be honest with you guys.
Is a Sunday night easier? Is everybody sitting at home doing nothing anyway? Or is it, a late night? Is it later at night when you're sitting there herkle-durkling on your phone? Is it a better time to watch something like this?
Yeah, we're thinking of switching it up. We're thinking about it, going, a later time.
I see. We're saying like 5 o'clock, anything after hour works for me. This one, a lot of people say it works.
Yeah.
Well, we might try it. Hopefully, we won't. If we do try another time, we'll get you then too.
Yeah.
See, 30 to 60. Some people are like an hour later. Probably get off work at like 4 or 5.
4 or 5. Yeah.
Yeah,
well, you know what we could do? We could always, like you said, we could always test it out. Try at nighttime and see how it goes and see if people like it.
Yeah, see if we get the eyes. All right, it's good to know. Yeah, probably a lot of you are at work and you're trying to sneak it and not let your boss see you watching ghost stories.
Nighttime would be better for you guys. Yeah, that's what we were talking about.
Yeah. Somebody, all right, when I was asking this question, though, we got another question, which is really interesting, John. I know you have an answer for this if I can find it again, but she was asking, she was confused. So here we go.
Spirits can learn. I think I
spirits
saw that
learn?
question.
Right.
Spirits
so
can learn. Spirits can learn. They can forget too. That's the old. I have a theory on that: old memory versus new memory.
Let's hear it.
So the theory goes as follows: is that spirits can gain new memories, and without proper stimulus to those memories, lose them. And
Lose
that's
them.
basically
Explain
and
yourself.
every spirit's different too. So it might take a spirit a week to forget. It might take a spirit a year to forget. But sooner or later, it will forget without the proper stimulus. Right, Boxing?
So are you saying that if a spirit did crossword puzzles, they would strengthen their energy waves and possibly hold on to memories longer, like an old person?
If the crossword puzzle was the thing that sparked the new memory, sparked the learning,
Interesting.
you know, like for example, Foxy, the cat, right, in the tower. If I were to move Foxy to a different location, all the spirits that learned who Foxy was, after a while, will forget that she existed.
Interesting.
No. So that's basically what I mean by that.
Okay.
No.
All right. What do you guys think?
Yeah. And we've seen this too. It's not like I've told this story a million times
Well, tell
in
me
my
how you've
live
seen
stream.
it. Give me an example of how you've seen it.
So we'll recap. So the
Yeah.
first cemetery that I ever really documented fully and poured a lot of hours into was the abandoned cemetery. This is a cemetery that is 3 cemeteries rolled into one. It's the Kings Road Cemetery, aka the Baptist Cemetery, the and the Strange Burial Ground, which I took you to. You've been to the cemetery,
Yeah. Okay.
okay? So for a while, I was not allowed back at that cemetery because of something that happened that I was falsely accused of. And when I finally got back to that cemetery, all the spirits basically forgot who I was. When I remade my connections with those spirits, the spirit that was known as the grumpy spirit, Elmer, became one of the nicest spirits ever. Still kept his personality. He just liked me the second time around. And the spirit
Well, you
that
grow on people,
literally
dude.
you
You're
can,
charming.
yeah, and the spirit though, but get this is where it gets crazy. The
Okay.
spirit that you can thank for the boom of cemeteries and cemetery lives and all the people that came after I started, wandering cemeteries. The reason why people realize that there's actual spirits in cemeteries, because as you know, it was very taboo and it was thought that there were no spirits at cemeteries. Most experts you speak to will be like, there's no spirits at cemeteries. Okay. We
Right.
know that's wrong now. But the reason why all that happened was because of a spirit was not only one of the best spirits I communicated with. If I needed to tell somebody off about, that had, was being rude, I would literally
Yeah.
go to Joseph T. June and have a conversation with Joseph T. June about that person. Like, so say someone in the chat was like, oh, this is fake, this is bullshit. I'd be like, all right, hold on for a second. And walk up to Joseph and be like, yo, Joe, you believe what this a-hole is saying? And then Joe would respond, this is real, blah, blah, blah. Like, he would, like, back me up. Fucking wild. Like, instantly back me up. That spirit does not like me now. That spirit
Joseph
forgot who
Joseph
I
T. June.
was. And the second time I went to go talk to him, the revival, if you will, of that cemetery, that spirit wants nothing to do with me. Actually, will tell me to go fuck myself if I approach him now.
That's crazy.
Wild.
Do we know anything
Completely
about
wild.
this person? Like how old?
What?
Like what was their grave? What was the year? You know, offhand?
1800s. Yeah,
What?
yeah, yeah. 80s, I think, or 1860s. And I believe he was 33. years old when he died.
Oh my God.
I think. I could be wrong on that information. But yeah, wild, right?
That is wild.
Wild. Crazy. That cemetery was awesome, though. I mean, there was just so much going on at that place. There
Where I
still is.
was.
Yeah, where you were. Yeah.
That's good.
We just went to the strange burial ground. We just went to that one section and sat there
Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
A, the best service, and there are spirits that come through there all the time.
Sure.
Oh, and that was the other big change. When I went back the second time, not like just one, like when I went back for the second wave, if you will, of that cemetery, the spirits in the strange burial ground opened up to me. The first time they would rarely come through.
So I mean, that shows some sort of a memory in the sense that they need to know if you could sort of build a trust or build a relationship with them. At the
Yeah,
same
yeah,
time,
definitely.
at the same time, you can also lose that trust and lose that relationship that you've had experiences with, and you can't.
Yeah.
Do you ever go back to Joseph T. June's grave and say, like, do you ever try every now and again and be like, maybe clean it up? Maybe it needs a cleaning this summer, and then you can get back in its good graces.
Maybe. I've tried a bunch of times talking to him and he wants nothing to do with me.
I wonder what that's. Is that crazy?
It's
I wonder
so
what that's
crazy.
about. Kim
So
Rowland
crazy.
Kim Rowland asked the question here, and I actually know the answer to this. And if you listen to the podcast, Kim, you too will know the answer to this. Episode 4 specifically. What is the difference between a spirit and a poltergeist? So the difference that most people use as a definition of it is that a poltergeist is a manifestation from a person. So it's like people who have studied this will see it happen in oddly a lot of teens when they're heavily emotional and things fly off the walls and such and things of that nature, and that the teen is the poltergeist agent. The energy that's knocking things off the wall is the poltergeist. But really, like the belief system is that you can't have one without the other. Whether one can stay around without the other, I don't know the answer to that, and if that becomes its own thing. But that is like a poltergeist is not what we would refer to here as the apparitions that John is speaking with when he's at the cemetery.
Basically, in a nutshell, the poltergeist is not sentient.
Right.
It's not sentient. It doesn't have its own identity. It's coming from the person, the agent,
Right.
which is, Gary is 100% correct on that. Most of the time, poltergeists are caused by preteens and teens, hormones, all
Heavy
that stuff
emotions,
comes
heavy
into play.
stress.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what they usually look at. Poltergeist agents are studied probably more so than even spirits by the
Yeah.
people who study spirits, because it's usually, I think they
The only
believe.
thing that truly does bother me about the whole poltergeist thing, right? Since we're on the topic, I might as well
Sure.
say it. What really does bother me about the poltergeist agent and the poltergeist is you never hear about poltergeists from PTSD victims. You never do. Like, it's always like a teen that's going through something or something like that. Like, you would think, and this is where you really got to critically
I
think.
wonder, is anybody studying them?
Yeah, I wonder. That'd be awesome
It might.
if there is something out there.
It's I don't know if there. It's not like you never hear of it because maybe no one's studying it. Because who's around? Maybe a PTSD victim doesn't want to tell anybody that things are flying around their house.
Maybe not.
Whereas
Yeah, no, it's a possibility.
Whereas a
But you would
parent might be
think that-
complaining about their kids when things are flying off the roof, flying off the shelves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I wonder. Like, I wonder. Yeah. It's a possibility. You never hear about it, so I wonder.
Right.
Makes you
Anyway,
think, right?
I hope that answers your question. But honestly, listen to episode 4, because and it's useful. It's useful to define these things, even though they are amorphous, just so that we know what we're talking about. And it's even different when we're talking about what a haunting is, because a haunting is referred to the difference as like an imprint, a recording. So
See, You know what's really interesting? What episode was it, Gary? The
4.
one where
Oh,
it
sorry.
was the Lloyd
4.
episode.
That's episode 4. Yeah.
Episode 4 with the doctor.
Yeah.
And the whole, let's just refresh everybody's memory about that. It was basically he was doing an investigation in a house where at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
they would like the
Hear
couple
people
was
having
always-
sex.
Yeah, was woken up with people having sex. He did his homework. He found out that it was a ritual for the previous couple to at 3 a.m. wake up and start banging their brains out.
Yeah. And
Now-
and the couple were still alive.
And they were
So it
still
wasn't
alive.
like they were dead.
And-
They left they had, as I joked in that episode, they left a spectral sex tape in that poor new owner's house,
and that, yeah.
which is crazy. But
So
he investigated it. He went and it was like, that's a haunting, right? That was what the
Yeah.
difference is, what a haunting is versus an apparition versus a poltergeist.
Yep.
If you're going to
And-
believe in any of this shit, guys, it's like that's what these definitions mean, right? Like, so
Yeah.
it helps us as we're trying to line things up to
So
sort
now,
of find them that way.
and a lot of you, and again, like Gary said, these are definitions. You guys know me. If I was the person on that case, for example, I take in that data, you take in that in consideration, but then you also have to take in the other possibilities as well. There's possibilities with that case alone that the sexual energy was being, well, there's actually a lot of things that could have been happening there. The
Right.
sexual energy could have fed something. And that what sounds like fucking at 3 a.m. is actually just the spirit acting out that energy. That it got. It could also be that the couple themselves affected those spirits like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it fed off it, but now it imprinted on those, those people. Almost think of it like, remember going back to Hale's story? I'm sorry to jump around.
No,
Let's go
jump in.
back to Hale's story from last week. And
Right.
I asked Hale a very simple question. I said, Hale, were the three of you were in opposition of each other, but was it more of like a ganging up, like the other two people were against you rather than against all three? A three-way, if you will, a three-way battle royale. And come to find out, no, it was the other two that were in opposition of her, and then the spirit reacted in kind. You get what I'm saying? So it's amazing how much what the takeaway from this is. The takeaway from this is, Lloyd could be 100% correct. That could be a textbook definition of a
Well,
haunting.
yeah, but the thing is, look,
You
if
know?
when you're studying something and you get to an answer, and I think this is most scientists, right? Where they get to the answer and it matches when the square fits into the square peg fits into the square hole, it's like, okay, we've got it, right? It's like that.
It's kind of
most.
like that.
For
It's
most,
kinda
right?
like
So-
that. It's basically just to add to that though. It's okay. The square shape fits into the square hole. Done.
Yeah.
But that square shape has to fit into that square hole with different tests. So, like, for example, technically, and there's no way to do this, you have to get that couple out, put a new couple in, see
Yeah.
if they experience the same thing,
I
then the
think
next couple, then the next. You can't do that in the paranormal.
No, for
unfortunately.
sure. I think most people tend to, or most doctors, right? The simplest solution is usually the right one.
And I'm
Right.
sorry to cut you off, just real quick, going back to the doctor, Lloyd. He's got
Yeah.
a couple books out, right?
Oh yeah. Lloyd's books
Yeah,
are great.
What,
They're great.
Lloyd Auerbach is
Lloyd
his name.
Auerbach is very well known. I mean,
Yeah, he's got a couple of books
His
out.
books
If
are
you're
really
interested in
fun.
reading.
I got
know.
my crash course. He gave me the crash course in paranormal from this one, ghost hunting, how to
Yeah.
investigate the paranormal. And he's even got a book, Hauntings and Poltergeists, really
Yeah.
dives into what those definitions are. But yeah, look, these are big, these are just sort of,
I'm just trying to
You know-
promote his books. I know a
Yeah,
lot of you
he's
guys
great.
like to read. Definitely give
Read-
it a read.
go on Amazon. He goes by Professor Paranormal. He does Q&As
Yep.
on YouTube a lot. He's been around, man. The guy's got stories. But look,
Yeah.
and he does the work. He puts in the work, right? He went, knocked on doors, got some answers, found
Got
a
to admire
connection.
someone that puts in the work. Yeah.
So it's great. But anyway, that was a very long way to answer what's the difference between a poltergeist and a haunting and all that stuff. But but this is kind of what we're trying to do here on the podcast, right? And we're trying to get to all these answers and have fun doing it.
We can make it a little longer real quick if you want, because I got a story.
We love ghost stories. Let's go.
Ooh, I've got a story.
Let's hear it.
So when it comes to poltergeists, I came across a poltergeist once. And this is some serious implications, because I came across what I called a detached poltergeist. I came across a poltergeist that no longer has a poltergeist agent. And it is one of the scariest fucking things I have ever came across.
Now, how do you know it was a poltergeist?
Because it wasn't sentient. So this thing, not only did it latch on to one of my friends at the time too, but this thing, there was no reasoning with it. Like, when I was communicating with it, there was literally no reasoning with it. No, like, like when you talk to Edward, there's a personality there.
Yes.
You could tell, you can tell you're speaking to somebody.
Yeah.
This thing was almost mindless. It was just like all about rage and hatred, and it was just communicating with it was completely different. And it took me a second to go, oh shit, where am I at? I'm at Letchworth. Okay, there was probably tons of poltergeist activity at Letchworth with all the shit those poor patients went through. What are the chances that one of it manifested so bad that there was an actual poltergeist there, knocking things off and playing around with things? And oh shit, is this, now that the agent is completely gone and removed for decades, this thing remained, left over in this place. And the only data that I have on it is the fact of how the communication went. It was just so like, I can't even describe it. I wasn't speaking to what used to be a human, is what I'm saying. Even like the worst spirits that go through the worst transformations, you could still, like, here, I'll give you another example, the smoke. You ever hear me talk about the smoke?
Yes, I've heard a buck out, right?
No, not at Buckout, at the pre-war burial ground.
Oh, okay.
Okay, it was a child, maybe even a baby. That was just, this thing was ruthless. It was terrorizing people that I had nothing to do with. It was just bad. Even I was able to communicate with that and reason with that. Even with everything it went through, I was able to reason with it. With this thing at Letchworth, I couldn't even talk to it. It was just, you could tell that it wasn't a human spirit. You
Or
could
could
tell
it have
that
been? But also this: you're at a former insane asylum.
yeah.
Could it have been the memory of a mad person?
Could have been. It's a possibility. I don't have enough data on it.
Right.
I called it a detached poltergeist because that's just the way it
Felt.
It felt. But you're 100% correct.
Right.
That could have been a crazy person.
Right. I mean, if we're talking about memories left behind, and you're in an insane,
yeah,
No,
you're 100% correct, because I have so little data on it other than the 2 experiences I had with it. And honestly,
check me out being a ghost paranormal check me out being a paranormal investigator.
There you go.
Asking the right questions.
Lloyd, you did good, Lloyd.
You did good, Lloyd. Hale, like to mention, brought up a great experiment that Lloyd told me about too, called the Philip experiment. Which, if you go to, you can probably find video of it on YouTube, which is a great poltergeist sort of example, like sort of the old time when the guy's going out and filming it and stuff like that. I would share it, but I don't have the rights to it. But it's like, I'll try to get them and share it with everybody one day. But it's you can go look at it for yourself. But it is that is a good experiment. That's a great one, a great example of what a poltergeist is, or what they think it was at the time. It's pretty good, guys.
Yeah.
What else? How can we leave the fine people here? We're getting close to our hour. Again, sorry we started late today.
I mean, I know you said you had a lot to talk about. I'm down to go longer if you want. I understand if you got something going on.
No, I got stuff to do. I got to jump and keep prepping, dude. We got to keep cutting, keep betting, keep calling, keeping this thing going. Guys,
Yeah.
I love the numbers today. We need to get this podcast up. We need to get tell your friends if you like it, you think it's fun. We're looking to hit 10,000 followers across every platform. We can do that. We'll start getting some real gas on this thing and have some real fun with it. Locations, travel, bigger guests.
Did we have any stories to end with? Did we have any submissions?
Not this week.
Not this week? Okay.
Not enough good evidence for this for this week.
Okay.
But we're getting on. That's another thing. But thank you for bringing that up. Go to the website, splinteredspirits.com. Please submit your ghost stories. And if you have evidence, some of you have been doing it, but I'm really looking for stuff that's fun, that's got some meat on the bone, things we can look at, analyze, and talk about, right? So, when you're on the site, go to, you'll see a tab, ghost stories. That's where you could submit. The podcast is everywhere. Listen to it there. Follow.
Everywhere.
It's everywhere. Our socials, we're everywhere. I think we're we're here on YouTube's the best experience for it, the YTs, but we're streaming on Twitch, on Insta, everywhere. So there's no excuse. We want to get those numbers up to get the most bang for the buck here, and have some fun doing it. As John mentioned, one of the first things he mentioned, the merch is up. Santa Paranormal and Splintered Spirits merch, all available at splinteredspirits.com.
Splinteredspirits.com.
Everything. You can get everything there. You can watch this there. It's a good hub. And then go to where you feel comfortable, what's easier. I know it's a pain in the ass switching around. You don't want to have to jump from here to there to everywhere. We don't want you to have to, but it's help us get those numbers up, guys. We want to get to 10 grand, 10K, 10 grand across the board. And this thing will be cooking with gas for sure. We're getting up there. By the way, I didn't tell you. I meant to tell you, and I have my last thing to say before I send out. We're up to 2,500 streams.
Wow.
Which, we've been out for 2 months, so we had 2,500 listens.
That's
which is pretty wild.
Good. Cool.
For a couple of non-celebrity schmoes like us for a podcast out of, I think there's, I don't know, something like 380,000 active podcasts in the universe right now.
Yeah.
So we're doing all right. We could do better. We're trying to do better. We want to give you guys what you want. And that's really it, man. I got nothing else. I think we're good for today.
Yeah. All right, hold on. Who is this? Real quick. We'll end it with a question. I think we got a good one in the chat here. I just don't know if it's referred to me or you. Regardless, it'll be interesting. Has all of your research you've been doing changed your opinion on spirits? So is that directed towards me, or do you want to go and then I'll go? I mean, I'm more interested to hear your
it's
input on it, to be honest.
No, for sure. Has all the research we've been doing changed your opinion on spirits? It's changed my opinion. Yeah, I would have to say yes. I mean, it's a yes or no question. I'll give it a yes. I have no idea what they are. And I've said this before. And what I really think for me that I still I'm fascinated by is not that the app speaks back or the words that it says, or even that it repeats words or says or answers questions. It's personality that makes me wonder what's going on. So it's like when I hear the same personality of a spirit that John is talking to in a specific location, that I find interesting. Could the app be, is the app geo sort of marking these particular words and this particular thing? I can't, let's say it is. Let's say it is. But
want to know a little secret?
It's regular.
You want to know a little secret? When I run these apps, the phone that I use,
you reset it.
Is off.
Yeah. Okay. So see, and then he resets it, and it's
off.
like, so.
In fact, sometimes it's on airplane mode.
All right. I mean, so that's what sort of wows me about that. That's super interesting to know. I
Yeah.
mean, so it's the personalities of them that makes me wonder what's going on.
Yeah.
And of all the theories out there, I I'm not a religious person. I grew up that way, and just John, same as John, we both grew up the same way, and we're both
Same
sort
way.
of atheists. And it's sort of
We're both atheists.
100% atheist about it. And so I look at it like there is something to this idea. Where does energy go, and what is that? You can call it soul, you can call it whatever you want, but it's energy. And are there memories attached to it? Why the hell not? No one really knows how the mind works
No.
fully.
That's the one thing in
So-
science. We still don't understand how this works.
Right.
It's so
So-
bad that people don't even know how to use it.
That's believe me, dude. I know that right away. I think one of our favorite questions on the podcast is, and listen, we love you guys, we thank you guys, but it's also like, where do I hear the podcast? And let me just say this with all due respect. If you don't know where to find a fucking podcast in 2025, I don't know what to tell you guys. It's like you're living in a cave. They're everywhere. It's the new world order. Figure it out. We're figure it out. I want your attention. I want you to listen. I want your eyeballs. But it's almost like, I think if you don't know where to find a podcast, then I would prefer you as a human being in society to crack a book and like learn, read, like get educated, then worry about where we are. Because if you don't know where a podcast is at this point in the game, I don't know if I can help you with a lot of the answers.
Yeah.
But when we say the podcast is everywhere, it's everywhere. You know
It's
what I mean?
everywhere.
It's everywhere.
And so, I mean, I guess I'll answer that question too. Mine dramatically changed, and I'm talking about when I first started doing this, to now. It's changed like you wouldn't believe. I've realized so many things about spirits. Spirits are bored. A lot of spirits don't know what the hell is going on. They're as ignorant as me and you. And this is what I always tell people, which is wild. Spirits are not omniscient. They don't know the secrets of the universe. Think of yourself. Think of yourself dying. That's what a spirit knows.
I like that theory.
It's really wild. And
I
when I
like that
first
theory.
started doing this back in 2021, when I first started doing this, I didn't understand these concepts. I thought that, when you died, you at least were able to find out some information. I didn't realize how boring, the afterlife could be if you're stuck in the same, rotations, if you will.
Well, you know how I know they don't know? Because they screwed up my NCAA brackets. That's for damn sure.
Yes, they fucked that up.
They couldn't pick the basketball teams. They couldn't predict that. My spirit selection bracket, guys, was a bust. They dropped out. They had me having St. John's winning the whole thing, which was a disaster. Florida wound up winning. Even though some of them said Florida, which was a great win, didn't help me in the long run. So, no, they're not privy to any new information, certainly on the NCAA college basketball front. That I can tell you.
No, they're definitely not.
First-hand experience. First-hand experience. So, all right, let's end it on that, my man. That was a good live.
Awesome.
Always leave them wanting more. We appreciate them.
Yeah. Listen, guys, just a quick recap before we go. We are 8 episodes in. Every other Tuesday. Splintered Spirits. Check it out.
Live every week.
Merch, Santa Paranormal. Splintered Spirits merch on santaparanormal.com. And every week we do the live podcast right here.
We want your ghost stories. We want your questions. We want your friends. We want them all. Check it out. Thank you for watching. Thank you all for watching. Until next time.
We have a good one, everyone. I feel like I should sing a little jingle with the music.